Welcome to all guests and subscribers of the most informative channel about life and real estate in Turkey. Turkey 2021 and moving to Turkey. What are the living costs for Turkey? How much money would you need for accommodation, food, and any other expenses? The topic of today's video will be exactly that, calculating the costs of immigrating to Turkey. I'm Sergey Volchenkov, the development director of our company Tolerance, Turkey's leading real estate agency. I will go into in-depth calculations about living costs in Turkey in a moment. Stick around. All those who are wishing to move to Turkey always wonder exactly what their expenses and budget should be. How much will you pay for accommodation? How much of that will be spent on food or medicine? Today, we'll make sure to answer this crucial question for immigration. Your expenses will of course largely vary depending on how many family members you have and how old they are, whether you rent or own your accommodation, which stores you prefer to shop in, and many other factors. However, we're aiming to find a median value for you that you can use to estimate your monthly expenses. Let's get started. Let's say that your family consists of 2 middle-aged people. You own a 2+1 flat and shop mainly in the popular supermarket chains and local bazaars. As of recording this video, the exchange rate is $1 to 7.8 Turkish liras, and we'll use this for our calculations later. One of your biggest expenses will be home maintenance. This is because electricity and water are quite pricey in Turkey, making the monthly utility bill quite big. To maintain your apartment in Turkey, you'll have to account for these. Aidat, or monthly building maintenance for your flat, 150 liras. The electricity bill of about 350 liras, which includes the cost of heating in the winter and air conditioning in the summer. Water usage bill, 100 liras. Gas bill, 30 liras. Unlimited internet, 80 liras. Annual property tax, split into monthly payments, 20 liras. And any additional expenses or repairs, 100 liras. In total, this comes out to 830 liras, or about $106. Food and clothing. As for this section, you're in luck, because food and clothing are much cheaper here in Antalya compared to any European country or the United States, for example. Groceries in Turkey are incredibly fresh and affordable. The only things that might be a little more expensive in comparison are red meat and fish. As for fruits and vegetables, you'll find them to be very cheap, especially in local bazaars. The average price for a vegetable ranges between $0.50 and $1. Fruits are usually worth about $1. Seasonal fruits and veg tend to be quite cheap, which can be a huge benefit for you. You can forget about buying a lot of warm clothes and shoes. That is, of course, if you choose to live in Antalya, a warm Mediterranean coastal city. Summer clothes and shoes are quite cheap since Turkey is the world's largest manufacturer of these. Hence, the cost of your clothing will be minimal. So, to sum up, your expenses at the bazaar will be about 300 liras. Supermarket shopping will be about 500 liras. Clothes and shoes will cost about 250 liras. And in total, this is about 1,050 liras, or about $135. Healthcare and medicine. Let's say one of your family members is a regular at the gym. That's 150 liras. Plus, they visit their doctor once a month. Another 150 liras. Accounting for a regular intake of medicine or vitamins, 200 liras. On this note, I'd like to add that medicine in Turkey is of really high quality, manufactured by European standards. Additionally, any foreigner with a residence permit for Turkey can obtain a health insurance called the SGK, which will allow not only them, but also any of their family members and children under 18 to get treated at any state hospital free of charge. This also provides a massive discount on any prescription medication you might have to purchase. In 2021, the SGK costs about 700 liras. Of course, you're not obligated to have health insurance, and many foreigners in Turkey don't have any health insurance at all. However, I will add it on to our list because healthcare is very important. In total, that is 1,200 liras for healthcare and medicine, or about $154. Let's account for any additional expenses. A mobile network price for 2 people, 100 liras. Public transport comes up to 150 liras. Tea, coffee, or desserts in a cafe 3 times a week, 350 liras. Costs of extending your residence permit, including insurance, 100 liras. In total, that is 700 liras or $90. Let's come up with a grand total. For a family of 2 adults living in their owned 3-room apartment in Turkey, the monthly spending will come up to about 3,780 liras or $485 or $500 to round it up. I would like to once again remind you that this is a price that includes the SGK health insurance for your family. If you exclude it, the grand total reduces by about $90. Also, please keep in mind that this does not include any expenses on rent or owning and maintaining a vehicle. I would just like to reiterate that the exchange rate is currently at 7.8 liras for a dollar, which also plays in your favor. Until very recently, the sum would have come up to about $600, unlike the $500 that we counted. Of course, the prices in liras will grow along with the inflation. However, in Turkey this process is very slow and not proportional to the US dollar exchange rate, unlike you might see in your country. Because Turkey manufactures many of the necessary products for public consumption, liras appreciating in value will not affect prices as much as it could in, for example, the USA. So, how much would it cost to maintain a family of 4, with 2 school-age children, as well as a car and, for example, a pet? We would just have to add expenses for 2 children, such as paying for any of their extracurricular activities, their state school fees, stationery, as well as paying for car servicing, gas, vehicle insurance, and vehicle tax. For this family, it would cost about 6,000 liras a month or $770 at the current exchange rate as a bare minimum. If you are able to spend $1,000 a month on a family of 4, then you can be confident and live very comfortably without having to worry about unexpected bills and being able to afford any additional services, entertainment, or any other purchases. Today, we estimated your budget for living in Turkey. As you can see from the numbers, it is a lot cheaper in comparison to the USA or any European country, for example. By choosing to immigrate to Turkey, you can really save some money while living in a warm climate, always having fresh produce, and being able to forget all about winter. Subscribe to the most important channel about life and real estate in Turkey to always be up to date with any important information about this country. We know and talk about things no one else knows and talks about.
Subscribe to our channel and get the best professional advice.